You guys ever think about dying?
What the hell?
Whoa!
Welcome back, guys, gals, and other pals, to another fine edition of The Final Credits. And this time, we took a look at the movie Barbie. As you can see, we've spared no expense in our seating arrangements right now. And
We're going full pink, guys.
ironically, Johnny was the one who talked me into this. Thanks, Johnny. I'm going to be completely honest. Going into this movie, initially, I was just like, this is just going to be fun. This is just going to be whatever. Maybe it's going to be a bit of a meme or whatever. I did not expect this movie to be as fun as it was and how dark it was, because this movie got real with a lot of subjects real quick. And, yeah, overall, I liked it. Like I said in my first impressions, it did not change. This is your summer blockbuster for the year.
Yeah, I mean, Greta Gerwig gave us one hell of an existential crisis, acid trip, comedy blockbuster of the summer. I don't even know how else to describe it, because basically everything you just listed before, Grim, is like, yes, all of the above. It was all of those things mashed into one big pink ball and thrown at us right in our faces, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny. Going into this, I was like, I am not the target audience for this movie at all. After watching the movie, I'm still not the target audience for this movie. But I have to say, though, that it was cute. I enjoyed it. And I'm surprised it's as good as it was.
I'll say this. Christopher Nolan has done it again with Oppenheimer. I think it's the film of...
Oh, come on.
No.
Wait.
Wrong movie. Wrong half of Barbenheimer. Wrong half of
We're doing a movie review. Hey, you said we were doing Oppenheimer. What the hell? Okay, Barbie. Sorry, guys. Got two. The movies keep crossovering.
This guy always making a mistake. Always making a mistake.
Wait, Pancakes, who are you talking to?
Our producer
what
in our
outside
ear.
source is this?
Hold on. We have a producer.
We have a producer now?
Always has.
I'll say this about Barbie.
Is that Will Ferrell in the head? That's Will Ferrell, isn't it? Yeah.
Will Ferrell practically played himself in this movie, but he was hilarious. Yes, I went into this with low expectation and similar to Speed. Definitely not part of the target audience. I was probably the one that wanted to see it the most out of everybody, but
slow down. What? Excuse me? The
Yeah.
most? Doubt
the
that.
least.
Press X for doubt.
Yeah.
All right, but for what it was, I'm so happy they took the comedy route. That was the best way to go. I laughed way more than I expected. It was hilarious. It got with its serious moments. It had the social commentary about women rights, men versus women, men in the workplace being in charge, feminism. But they did it in an entertaining way. Like you felt like it wasn't shoved down your throat. They tied it into the story. Is it going to be in my top 5 films at the end of the year? Probably not. But for what we did see, it was entertaining and enjoyable, and I liked it a lot more than I thought when I saw the first initial trailer. One thing I find it hard to believe, Barbie's been around since 1959, and this was his first live action movie, considering how fast everything else in the world becomes the live action movie. I was reading that the plans were initially announced in 2009. Amy Schumer and Hathaway could have been Barbie at various stages, but I'm shocked it took this long. But let me throw it back to you guys on this.
See, that's the thing, though. Like, this is something I noticed is just that, and the things I've read about too, is that Mattel is like was actually pretty crafty in how they were like trying to make this movie. Like, you could tell low key that they wanted to rebrand Barbie. Because, like you said, she's been a thing since 1959. Has been through all sorts of different eras and different, time periods, all these styles, all these different trends and whatnot. And over time, I think like the past like maybe 10 years or so, she started to become less relevant, especially with like other things like taking the spotlight over the years, like Bratz dolls and whatnot, things that like girls have like kind of taken to in a more modern era. And I think this was their way of saying like, no, Barbie's here to stay. This is her in, you know, the 2020s. Like this is the direction we're taking her in, and we hope you're freaking ready for it, because this is Barbie like you've never seen her before. And I think they succeeded, because I mean, as we're seeing from the performance, you know, at the time of like recording this video, it's the Tuesday after. Barbie as a movie is doing amazingly well, and I think we're witnessing like a cultural phenomenon that I think people will be talking about, you know, years or even decades from now.
You know, it's funny. People are saying that this movie is so feminist and woke or whatever. I think people fail to realize that since what did you guys say? 59?
59.
Yeah.
Right. So since 1959, the only thing Barbie has ever done is shown women empowerment, because it was always Barbie who had the job. It was always Barbie who was the breadwinner in the family between her and Ken. So explain to me again how this is going against the patriarchy today, as opposed to it's been doing it for the last, I don't know, 80 years.
Yeah.
Because now it's more of like a visual thing. Like no one really cared about, like, except for like collectors and young girls, probably young boys too, who actually followed the lore of Barbie and how successful she was. And adults were essentially just like, you know, all right, it's my kid playing with their dolls. That's it.
Right.
That I don't care about anything else. But those kids, like everyone else, grew up, and they didn't forget about those morals and everything. And that's how we managed to get a movie like this today that can teach that kind of lesson to a much broader audience now in a movie theater.
You know what the difference is too? Is that, I mean, this movie is coming out during a time that is like where everything is highly politicized. There's culture war after culture war after culture war in this country. And so like, and it's kind of goes with what you're saying, that there's a more visual aspect to it now, with like that feminist theme with Barbie, even though it's always been there. The way this movie presents it is, let's, you know, not beat around the bush. There is a somewhat political side to this that's part of the story, which makes it kind of like it works. But you know, people are going to make those parallels where it's like, oh, you know, like Barbie is trying to do this or that with, you know, with things that we're already talking about in today's world, with feminism, with women's rights, things that we're seeing at a governmental level. So, you know, end of the day, it's a Barbie movie, right? It's going to be, you know, Barbie, Ken, all the other things, like everything that Mattel has thrown at us with that brand over the years. And you know, people are going to take things to a level where obviously it's not that serious, you know. But
in the words of Heath Ledger from The Dark Knight, why so serious?
Yes, yeah,
Agreed. Yeah,
exactly,
1000% agree.
Well, so yeah, I mean, well, with that being said, I want to talk about the performances really quick, because I think the standout parts of this movie were definitely, you know, the cast and how they perform out, especially Margot Robbie. I think it goes without saying that she is Barbie, the way, you know, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man, the way, you know, Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. She embraced the role 110%, and I think she was the perfect casting for, you know, Barbie herself, or one of the stereotypical Barbie, as she called herself. But she was really good. She was really funny, and I mean, she kept everything moving all throughout the movie. So I was on board.
1000%.
Ryan
Gosling, I felt, was actually, Ryan Gosling, I actually felt was extremely compelling as Ken. Like he just like, without trying to give anything away, like he had this aura about him of just like, you know what, I can perfectly see how Ken would react to a situation like this. And like I said, I think Ryan Gosling just grabbed it by the throat and he just nailed it. I thought it was great.
To add to Grimm's point, you could you could tell a lot of ways he was having so much fun with this because he already has the reputation of being one of the big Hollywood hunks and doing romantic films, etc. And in a lot of ways, he was poking fun of himself by taking on the Ken role and just being a scene stealer and just maybe being the funniest character on screen, arguably. When we saw him do his parts in the movie, entertainment for me was every time I looked Big Grim's way and Michael Cera appeared on screen as Alan and just freaked him out, freaked everybody out. Like, why was he there?
That was like the point of his character, though. Alan was an accessory doll to Ken, the way Ken was an accessory doll
Ken's
to Barbie.
best friend.
Yeah, and no one paid attention to him apparently.
But
that was the thing too. Like Mattel, like just you mentioned people making fun of themselves. Like that was like the core of the humor was like Mattel in a very meta way, just making fun of itself at every corner. And I honestly got a lot of respect for them. In terms of like how many times they were shooting themselves in the foot for the sake of comedy. And it was really, I thought it was really funny with like Will Ferrell being the CEO of, quote unquote CEO of Mattel in that world. But I thought it was hysterical.
I want to give also credit to America Ferrara.
Yes.
Like the one scene where she gives a monologue without going into more detail, she was phenomenal. Like her part playing the Mattel employee and trying to be discreet here, but she was very good in her role. So
yeah, I mean, she had a dynamic with her daughter that I thought was really their chemistry worked really well. It was like a mother-daughter thing.
So you guys want to hear some numbers? Some real quick numbers?
Why not? Yeah, sure.
Yes, please. In the time of this recording, let us hear current numbers. Spade, what you got?
So the budget for the Barbie movie was $145 million United States dollars, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
As of this recording, Barbie has made $188 million.
Hey, success.
Not bad so far, right?
Yeah.
Here's something to think about. Ready? Mm-hmm. The Flash, which came out, let's say, 2 weeks ago?
Sure, yeah.
The Flash to this day. Oh, by the way, guys, the numbers
that about 3 weeks ago. I think even longer.
3 weeks ago. Okay.
Yeah, and it's streaming now.
Time is a soup.
I just want to preface this, and I want to reiterate something also. The numbers that I'm giving out are only domestic numbers. They are not worldwide. So if the numbers seem low, that's why. So now, if Barbie in one weekend has made $188 million in the Americas, right? The Flash has worldwide only made $267 million. So less than $100 million more, Barbie will tie the Flash in only 5-6 days, as opposed to the Flash being out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, it goes to show. But you know what though? It's just it goes to show, like, the work that Greta Gerwig put into this movie, and it's not by any means it's not like a perfect movie or anything like that. I don't think we got into like any negatives yet. We could, but you could tell she really like did what she wanted to do with this movie. She knew exactly what this movie wanted to be. This movie knew exactly what it wanted to be as a film, and it gave everybody something fresh and new, even if you're not within the demographic of Barbie herself, which I don't think any one of us were, but we still came out of that theater laughing as hard as we were. We were probably the ones laughing the hardest in many scenes.
Absolutely.
Going back to the humor aspect, but
also one other thing. Obviously, Barbie came out the same weekend as Oppenheimer, right? So trailing right behind Barbie, Oppenheimer made an astounding, as of today, domestically, $95 million. So realistically, it's not that big of a difference. I mean, we're talking about what, $50 million as opposed to,
yes and no.
Look, let's be honest. when these two movies were coming out, everyone thought one of these movies was going to bomb because everyone was going to go see the other movie, right? So this weekend was a great weekend to prove and to show to people that two big box office movies can come out the same weekend. They could both make a lot of money on the same weekend. And this proves
the
it right.
power of the meme. The power of the meme.
The power of the internet. The power of the internet.
Yeah. It's nice to see, the world coming together, though, over agreeing over something.
What? Sure. You're absolutely right. It is very nice to see both the jock and the goth kid come together and make a perfect pairing.
Yeah.
That's how I honestly feel about that entire weekend. And for now, guys, that's how we feel about this. Please, everyone, like, share, subscribe, do everything downstairs, do the thing, hit the notification bell, please. Let us know what you think about Barbie. Is it pink? Is it not pink? Let us know. Until then,
it's pink. It's pink.
Roll credits. We're out.
Roll credits.
And remember, you are Kenough.